It was a bright summer afternoon. The sky was clear, painted in soft blue with a few puffy white clouds drifting lazily above. Birds chirped from the rooftops, and a warm breeze rustled through the tall trees that lined the narrow street. The street itself was quiet and peaceful, a row of cozy houses with little flower gardens, bicycles leaning against fences, and the distant hum of a lawnmower somewhere nearby. But at the very end of the lane, one house stood out like a page from a storybook. It was a curious little building, part cottage, part invention. Antennas of all shapes poked out from the roof like metallic sunflowers. Blinking lights flickered around the porch, as if the house itself was always mid-experiment. This was the home and laboratory of Professor Zapnik, the famous, if slightly eccentric, scientist whose inventions sometimes made the neighbors nervous and often made the local kids very curious. The lab is filled with colorful wires, blinking monitors, shelves lined with bottles and magnets. On the table, an open notebook, a horseshoe magnet, and scattered tools. On her way home from school, Léna took a detour to Professor Zapnik's house. She just couldn't stop thinking about something she saw in science class. "Why does this magnet stick to the fridge? It's like it has invisible glue on it," asked Léna with a curious expression. Léna always had questions, and Professor Zapnik always loved answering them. Magnets have an invisible field around them, called a magnetic field. "That's what pulls things toward them," replied the professor with a smile, pointing at the swirling lines above the magnet. "But what's a magnetic field? Is it like a superpower?" asked Léna in amazement. "In a way, yes," replied the professor with a spark in his eyes. "It reaches out, even through the air, and pulls certain metals toward it just like a superhero's power. But instead of saving the day, it helps us stick things to the fridge or power compasses." Léna and the professor moved to a small table with a collection of objects. A wooden spoon, paperclip, foil, coin, and a pebble. The paperclip instantly snaps to the magnet. "The paperclip stuck, but the coin didn't. But they both look like metal," said Léna, puzzled, turning the coin over in her hands. "Not all metals are magnetic. That coin is probably made of copper or aluminum. They don't react to magnets," replied the professor with a cheerful grin, placing the coin next to the paperclip. Léna giggled as she stuck a few magnets to the professor's coat. When he moved, he got stuck to the metal board. "Careful, Professor, you might be stuck there forever," said Léna with a cheeky smile. "Science can be sticky sometimes, but at least now we know why," answered the professor cheerfully. And just like that, Léna learned that not everything shiny is magnetic.